2021 is the 25th anniversary of the Telecommunications Act of 1996, the last comprehensive update to Internet regulation. The Internet has experienced more than a few updates since 1996, but Internet regulations have not. That's why Facebook supports updated regulations on key issues like preventing election interference, protecting people's privacy, reforming Section 230, and more. See Facebook's progress on key issues and what's next at about.fb.com/regulations.
Parents, get your children ready for a healthy back to school. Schedule a checkup with their doctor and dentist, and be sure they are up to date with their immunizations, including the COVID-19 vaccine if they're 12 or older. A message from the Virginia Department of Health and Virginia Department of Education.
If you find yourself in need of legal representation, it can be a very stressful time in your life. In my career, I have dealt with thousands of lawyers, I've dealt with thousands of law firms, and I can confidently recommend to you Keith M. Davidson at kmdlaw.com. Available 24 hours, 7 days a week. Just log into kmdlaw.com. That's kmdlaw.com. Or you can call toll-free 833-4KMD-LAW. That's 833-4KMD-LAW. Personal injury, wrongful death, STDs, sexual assault, car accidents. They handle it all efficiently and professionally. It doesn't matter how imposing the opposition may be, because the team at kmdlaw.com are battle-tested and fierce. They will not stop until justice prevails. Go to kmdlaw.com or call toll-free 833-4KMD-LAW. If you're in for the fight of your life, stop screwing around and contact KMD Law.
Before Epstein was the Franklin cover-up. Before that, the Finders. And long before that, the Cleveland Street Scandal. Pedogate Primer is a concise intro and overview of a growing child abuse epidemic worldwide. It features shocking instances of institutionalized and organizational pedophilia throughout history. Churches, cults, the world of arts and entertainment, the government, NGOs, charities, and major corporations are all complicit or culprits in many instances. Pedogate Primer delves into material that for many may seem like the stuff of conspiracy theories. For this reason, the book draws on academic resources, declassified documents, and other reliable sources, and steers clear of conjecture. Such shocking true stories need no embellishment.
Emailrevealer.com. People ask me all the time, hey Ed, are you still a private investigator? I sure am. Go to emailrevealer.com. We handle adoption investigations, infidelity investigations, where you give us your spouse's email address. We trace it back to online dating websites, catch them cheating online. Email tracing, locate or identify somebody from as little as an anonymous email address. Someone owe you money? Back child support? We can find that deadbeat, locate his hidden assets, locate his hidden bank accounts, find his current place of employment, and even assist you in obtaining a judgment and recover that judgment for you. Emailrevealer.com. Digital forensics, computer forensics, cell phone forensics, recover deleted text messages. Create a report that you can use in court. Emailrevealer.com, 800-572-9762. The Opperman Report is brought to you by Aquadam.net. You can give them a call at 707-764-2119. A flooded home is never easy to deal with. You're left with the mess to clean up, the insurance companies to deal with, and not to mention all the memories, the precious memories that are lost in the flood. You can never replace those. And Aquadam can be a tool in your arsenal to protect your home and property from the floodwaters. The cofferdam is filled with water to control water and is reusable as long as it's taken care of. It can protect your home or business from rising floodwaters like a dam, but without the beavers. It can also be used in construction. If you need an area to be dewatered, an Aquadam can do the job. An Aquadam was used at SeaWorld in Orlando for the Mako roller coaster ride during the coaster's construction by dewatering the work area. An Aquadam is now dewatering the work area at San Antonio SeaWorld for their newest roller coaster ride. An Aquadam has been used in many construction projects all around the U.S. and all around the world. Now give Aquadam a call, 707-764-2119. You can look them up online at aquadam.net. You can find them on Facebook at Aquadam Inc. You call them up, you email them, you tell them Ed Opperman sent you, and they're going to take 10% off the price. Aquadam.net, 707-764-2119.
It's the Opperman Report. Join digital forensic investigator and PI Ed Opperman for an in-depth discussion of conspiracy theories, strategy of New World Order resistance, high-profile court cases in the news, and interviews with expert guests and authors on these topics and more. It's the Opperman Report. And now, here is investigator Ed Opperman.
Okay. Welcome to my show, the Opperman Report. And I am your host, private investigator Ed Opperman. You could find me, and I still do PI work. A lot of people, it's amazing. I get an email almost every week, right? You're still doing PI work? And another guy, too, said to me, I know you once did some PI work. Well, work as a PI every day. Okay, guys, I don't get a break. I don't know what you think's going on over here. I work my fingers to the bone. 7 days a week. Got a meeting tomorrow. Let's see what that is. Nothing. If you want to get a hold of me for some PI work, you can email me at oppermaninvestigations@gmail.com. I know a lot of people email me at Opperman Report about PI work, and let me tell you, it'll probably get lost, okay, because I get a lot of email on Opperman Report, and I can't respond to even 10%, and messages on Facebook and Twitter and stuff. And also, too, on Opperman Report, that's where I get all my press releases and press briefings and book authors who try and hustle me books and authors to put on my show. So, a lot of mail there. So if you want some PI work, you need some help desperately, get a hold of me at oppermaninvestigations@gmail.com. If you like our show, be sure and check out our Patreon. I try to put up the shows Monday to Friday that we play here on AM/FM radio, ad-free on Patreon, but I've been a little lax with that the past week. I've been packing to move. So I've been throwing away a lot of stuff. I have to take these long trips down to the dumpster. And I only got one arm. I tore my bicep when I moved in here last year, so I have to carry everything with my left arm. But what we've been doing is I've been training for this, running up and down. They have these observation towers out here at the preserves. They're about 4 stories high, staircases, and you get to the top. I've posted pictures of it from the top. So what I've been doing is running up and down those things so that my legs won't be too tired when I have to carry stuff up and down for the move this week, and hopefully I'm going to be able to move on Sunday. But we've had some issues, and I'll probably be getting into that at the end of the show, because I've put together an incredible team here with a great credit repair guy. Let me pull up his information here, because he's definitely worth getting to know and hiring. Where is it? Let me find him. Okay, now if I do this, I'm going to call him. Oh, I know what to do here. Man, I got a new iPhone, so it's hard to, I don't know how to use it yet. I never used to use these damn phones. I would sit there and think to myself or talk to the people around me, and now I'm one of these zombies who sits there staring at his phone all the time. You can catch Donnie Mays at Dynamic Solutions 2 at 213-618-6424, 213-618-6424. And he can help you out with your credit repair needs, but also a lot of good stuff, You can hook you up with a mortgage broker and all kinds of things like that. People who can apply for SBA loans for you, all kinds of things. There's a lot of opportunities out there right now. Help with foreclosures and evictions, all kinds of things. So Donnie's been helping me out. And just to give you an idea of how enthusiastic he is and so how helpful he is, I texted him by mistake today. Okay, I texted him by mistake because I've been working with a mortgage broker, and when we finish this move up here, I'm purchasing a condo. So just imagine I'm going from an eviction to a home ownership in a span of just a couple of months, and so I was trying to message the real estate agent while I was driving, so I told Vic to type out the message for me. So by mistake, she sent it to Donnie, saying, "Hey, can you check with the mortgage broker about such and such?" And Donnie says, "Okay." And the next thing you know, he calls him up. He calls him up, and he checks on it for me. So great guy to have. And I'm going to be introducing you to the mortgage broker too, who just did miracles for me. I got a really low down payment, incredibly low, and incredibly low interest rate. I got a great deal. I wish I could just tell you everything, man, that went on, but it's just, and the place I'm getting is beautiful too. So and I'm working out the settlement with the eviction. We're going to get the eviction taken off my record. So everything's going pretty good over here. A lot of hard work. Don't get me wrong. This has all been hard work, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, and a lot of concentrating and thinking through all the options and possibilities. I always said to the audience that I've always known my whole life that every problem that comes your way is an opportunity to solve that problem and come out better off than you were before the problem came. And this is one of my finest achievements, I think, going from an eviction to home ownership in one felt swoop, rather than being homeless. So we're working on that. And the closing was supposed to be today, but the U.S. Bank screwed me up. They told me I could transfer all the money, I could wire all the money. And it turns out when I went to do it, there was a limit. Just like I said, was there a limit? Oh, no limit, don't worry. Ha, ha, ha. And then, man, I had to scramble. I have no idea. But anyway, that's all going good. And you can check out if you go to our Patreon and sign up and support the show, you'll help me with this move and help me. I had to get some medical insurance too. So I'm going to be paying monthly for that in order to get this arm fixed and in order to get some teeth fixed too. Because if I don't get these wisdom teeth pulled, all my teeth are going to start cracking and falling out just like my old man. So it's like, they show you where the cracks are too. Hey man, his teeth ain't going to last if you don't get rid of these wisdom teeth. So I'm going to need some oral surgery, but I got insurance now. I just got to pay for it. So you go to the Patreon, support the show, keep me on the air. I've gotten a lot of really nice compliments about the show lately, and I want to thank you for that. Usually most people hate listen to the show. They just hate, And I tell you, I had this crazy guy on YouTube this week who, he listens to a couple of shows, and then you start seeing, it's big. The guy's been commenting, not even listening to the shows. He sees the title, and he's an expert on the show, on what it's about. Let me tell you what's really going on. I'm talking about people I know, people I've worked with, But he's the expert. Let me tell you, so-and-so was murdered. Well, their family don't think they were murdered. But okay, whatever you say, you're an expert. You watch a lot of YouTube, so you're an expert on everything. Stuff I was talking about most of the stuff I talk about, it wasn't even on YouTube when I first started talking about it back in 2013. But what are you going to do? I give everybody else credit for my work, But I've been getting a lot of nice compliments, too, lately as well. Especially one of my guests this week, Randy Brown, who was the father of Brooks Brown, who was one of the Columbine kids. He was the one that Eric Harris told him, hey, don't go in the school. Don't go in the school. Get out of here. We like you. Okay? And he didn't go into school. And then as he was walking home, he could hear bombs going off and bullets going off. Well, anyway, I had his father on the show, and his father tells me that they reported Eric Harris to the police between 13 and 17 times. Let me pull up the title of his book. This guy was a great guest. He's coming up next, and you're going to like this show. I'm really proud of the two shows I'm putting up this tonight. The book is called The Exhausted Ed Opperman. The Inside Story of Columbine, Lies, Cover-Ups, Ballistics, and Lessons. And he really goes into a lot of the myths, that people think it was a suicide. He's convinced it was a murder-suicide because of the ballistics. People think, nobody knew what was going on with these two boys. Well, a lot of people knew. Randy Brown certainly knew. Brooks Brown certainly knew because they had called the police many, many times. And the cops said, they're lying. They never called the police. But then they had jotted down one of the police report numbers, and they couldn't deny it.
Parents, get your children ready for a healthy back to school. Schedule a checkup with their doctor and dentist, and be sure they are up to date with their immunizations, including the COVID-19 vaccine if they're 12 or older. A message from the Virginia Department of Health and Virginia Department of Education. Parents and guardians, get your children ready for a healthy back to school. Schedule a checkup with their doctor and dentist, and make sure they're up to date with new immunization standards. A message from the Virginia Department of Health and Virginia Department of Education. Parents and guardians, get your children ready for a healthy back to school. Schedule a checkup with their doctor and dentist and make sure they're up to date with new immunization standards. A message from the Virginia Department of Health and Virginia Department of Education.
That one. And they even met the head of the bomb squad, who told them, hey, listen, these guys are making bombs, pipe bombs. This is what pipe bombs look for. So take a walk around your house in your car and see if you notice any pipe bombs and get back to us. How do you like that? Okay? You know, law enforcement at their best, always here to help. Officer friendly, we're here to help you. We're here to help you. That's how I love too. And they start talking about, well, what we need more community policing. We need the cops up our asses even more than they are now, pulling us over every 10 minutes, we would leave the house. Now we need them up in our business, getting to know me. All right, get to know you, man. Leave me alone. I got nothing to do with you. Move along. Move along there. Okay? Getting a ton of messages all of a sudden. Let me turn this off. Exhausted. Okay, I was talking about, Brooks, Randy Brown. Okay, Randy Brown, a great guest, a lot of inside information. I asked him a lot of the rumors, and he confirms, and he was very impressed with the interview. During the break, he said, this is the best interview anybody's ever done with me. And then at the end of the show, he said the same thing. Reminds me when Greg Palast was on the show, and he said at the end, boy, you're the best. And during the break, this is one of the best interviews I've ever done. I tell you, man, it feels good. Especially since this Randy Brown was kind of a control freak before the interview. He sent me all these notes and stuff and guidance and all these things he wants to talk about. I don't want to talk about this. I want to talk about this. Okay. Let me get you on the show, bro. You're going to talk about it. You're going to enjoy it. I promise you. You're going to enjoy the interview. And he did. Coming up after Randy Brown in his book, The Inside Story of Columbine Lies, Cover-Ups, Ballistics, and Lessons. By the way, that book gets great reviews on Amazon. You want to check it out. Everybody says the guy's very sincere. I have another guest coming on, Kathleen McKenna Houston, H-E-W-T-S-O-N, and she's written a couple of books about Chris Watts, okay, and about his wife. I think her name is Cindy Watts. And remember, Chris Watts murdered his family. So we have her on talking about it. She gets into a lot of minutia and inside baseball that if you're not familiar with the case, it's really you're going to be lost. You're not going to know what she's talking about because she talks about stuff that's really detailed. That's it's for people who are going to Google the name Chris Watts or Google her name and be involved in all the controversy and know the extreme details of the case, which I don't, so I was just trying to get a little background to start off with first, but she just delved right into the all the details, Let's see, look up, what is this here? Okay. Okay. Okay, yeah. All right, just getting a lot of messages during the show. Doesn't bother me. Doesn't bother me at all. Okay. Hey, how you doing? Okay. How we doing on time? 16 minutes. It's not so bad. Let's see. What else do I want to talk about? A whole bunch of things. One thing, and let's get right into the whole thing about the FBI informants. Now, this is about Governor Whitaker up there in Michigan, who was supposed to be kidnapped by these militia members, the Wolverines, the Watchful Wolverines, or whatever it was. No, the Wolverine Watchmen. That's who they were. And when this story came out, remember, there's about 12 of them that were arrested, and they had a plan. They were going to kidnap the governor at her summer house or vacation property, weekend property by a lake. And they had a plan. They were going to bomb the bridge as a diversion. They were going to take down the bridge, right? And then the other thing is that one of the guys, I think his name was Fox, Anyway, there's a great article you got to read in BuzzFeed. Okay, they did some great reporting on this. You have to go there by Ken Bensinger and Jessica Garrison. Matter of fact, I should try and get them on the show because this is an excellent story that I can only just give you the surface. But for some background, I talked about this just around the time that this arrest was made. I came on the show laughing about this. It was so obvious. Every conversation with these guys was recorded. All of their encrypted apps. Okay, this is the one that really drives me nuts. Clients will contact me and say, "Boy, I need to talk to you. Do you got Signal? Do you got Wire? Do you got..." They want to talk to you on these encrypted apps. You got Proton Mail, you got all this stuff, right? Because they're obviously being spied on by everybody, right? And I usually say, listen, first of all, if you're talking to your friends on those things, your friends are probably ratting you out, okay? Because that's what happens. The FBI has all their encrypted chats and conversations and all this stuff because there's usually informants in there. The only way to do these things is just don't do anything illegal and don't communicate with people about doing things illegal. It's the only way you're going to avoid problems with this. Not getting highly encrypted apps, all this nutso stuff. Meanwhile, the FBI has recordings of all their conversations, their training. Every car was bugged, And one of the meetings that this guy Fox, I think it was, he lived in the basement of a vacuum cleaner repair business. So when they would come over, he would have meetings with these people who wanted to kidnap the governor and storm the state capitol over there, which they did successfully storm the state capitol with arms. But they had this wild plan to kidnap the governor, and they would meet. It would pull up a hatch, like a secret doorway that went to the basement of this vacuum cleaner repair store. They would have their meetings down there. Just fascinating, man. Just fascinating. So it turns out now, BuzzFeed does this great investigation, that this whole thing was run by FBI informants who then brought in FBI agents, and it was the FBI agents that were doing the training. It was the informants that were doing the training. It was the agents that were offering them to get the C4 explosives to blow up the bridge. And one thing that I know, and one guy got $24,000 on a brand new car. Okay, for his services. Okay, to round out these 12 knuckleheads who are dreaming about blowing up a bridge. You know what it takes to blow up a bridge? This isn't Hogan's Heroes. Okay, that's a real serious operation. With weeks of planning and tons of TNT. Like the amount of explosive you would have to deliver and put in place is just astonishing. To blow up a bridge that's in the United States. We're not talking about a bridge in Vietnam. You can blow up with a couple of sticks of dynamite some bamboo bridge. We're talking about serious construction up to code. Oh my God. So anyway, the whole thing turns out it was all run by the FBI and FBI informants. And in the article too, they talk. This figure even shocked me. Talk about how the FBI budget is $40+ million a year to pay informants. Now, what the hell? I was shocked by that figure. How many people do they have running around as full-time paid informants? It has to be tens of thousands for a budget like that. Somebody do the math for me, figure out what that comes out to, $100,000 a year each. It's like 400,000 people, right? Isn't it? Something like that. Or, a lot of people. Let's put it that way, a lot of people. Whole bunch. So this goes to show you, man, that, that's even beyond what I had imagined. Just imagine all the unpaid informants, still the people working off their cases, or the people only getting $5,000, $10,000 a year, just for setting up a few people. Just remarkable. They got a whole army out there of rats and informants spying on you and me, spying on Black Lives Matter, spying on... By the way, too, this whole thing, too, and they're talking about how the Capitol Police are opening up a field office in Tampa, Florida, and somehow that's to spy on the insurrectionists on January 6th. No, you know who was in Tampa, Florida? Black Lives Matter. That's who they're spying on over there, not to these insurrectionists. Half of them are on the same side. Okay, did a great interview with Trevor Aronson, who laid out in 2 hours. He wrote for The Intercept. Great guest, great journalist, and laid out a story in 2 hours about how the FBI sets up these terrorist gangs, supplies them with the weapons, supplies them with the training, and then does an arrest and drops up a press conference and takes credit for combating terrorism, gives us more money. And we need a better budget, next year because we're combating terrorism. What a great job we're doing. And that's it. This thing here, this case here in Michigan, these Wolverine Watchmen, and their Boogaloo Boys, all these characters, fits into that like by the letter, like a little roadmap, like a recipe that Trevor Aronson describes. So much so that when I'm watching the press conference the next day of this governor, who had to be tipped off early on in this investigation and had to be told, hey, don't worry, because we got these guys surrounded by cops and informants and FBI agents. We know every move they're making. We're listening to them live, on their recordings. So don't worry, they're not going to be able to kidnap you. We'll swarm right in there. So she's there in a happy mood. Oh, look at me, I'm a star. I was almost kidnapped. Oh, it was so scary. But she doesn't look like a person who was scary that was just almost kidnapped. She looks like someone who was in on the big joke. And not to say that these right-wing nuts aren't dangerous. Of course they are. We see what they're doing out there. I got to deal with them myself in my own personal life all the time. Nuts. Ugh. Trevor Aronson came back and he described the whole scene that went on up there at the Burns Preserve and the Bundy Ranch, that crew that went up there and did those standoffs, and about how many of them were also informants and FBI agents and undercover ATF and all that kind of stuff. So it seems like, the majority of these right-wing groups are totally infiltrated. And you got to wonder, they're so supportive of police and back the blue and all this kind of stuff. And here they are being spied on by the same people who they back and support, or sometimes are in the same kind of line of work with. We saw about how I had another guest on the show was in northern Nevada. How the local sheriff up there was hiring the local militia members and Boogaloo Boys to run security for him and break up Black Lives Matter protests, and even run security when President Trump landed at the airport up there. Okay? These stories come out in the news, but I've been talking about them for years. I had Trevor Aronson on like 2014. Okay. And then I get a lot of bull hockey this week. Okay? And would tell me, SOS Cuba. Ed, what do you have to say now? Your Cuban communist socialists are starving in the streets and they're waving American flags, Ed. They want democracy. How could you want socialism when your socialist brothers in Cuba want democracy? Well, let's take a look, okay? The people in the country of Cuba that have their own Cuban flag, okay? They have their own flag of their own country, are waving the flag of another country? For what reason? Because they're traitors to their own country? How do you sane people who say this stuff to me feel about when people protest here and they wave the flag of their country? Say, well, they need to assimilate to the United States. They need to be patriotic Americans. Well, these people need to be patriotic revolutionary Cubans, okay, and participate in the revolution, cooperate. Okay, so they're enemies of their own countrymen. Okay, they're traitors. And we can see that by the fact that they're waving a flag of another country that's invaded their country. Now, what's one of their main complaints? Well, the power grid is constantly being interrupted and blackouts. Okay, the power grid. That's totally the CIA handbook. It's the same exact thing that went on in Venezuela, taking down the power grid. The Venezuelan government ejected a bunch of U.S. diplomats because of their plot to disrupt the power grid. What happens right after that? The power grid.
Parents and guardians, get your children ready for a healthy back to school. Schedule a checkup with their doctor and dentist and make sure they're up to date with new immunization standards. A message from the Virginia Department of Health and Virginia Department of Education. Parents and guardians, get your children ready for a healthy back to school. Schedule a checkup with their doctor and dentist, and make sure they're up to date with new immunization standards. A message from the Virginia Department of Health and Virginia Department of Education.
90 Day is going tropical on the new Discovery Plus original series, Love in Paradise, the Caribbean. It's a vacation love story where sun, surf, and seduction collide. 4 Americans are traveling back to the exotic islands where they hope their sexy romances can turn into forever. Love in Paradise, the Caribbean, a 90-day story. Streaming now only on Discovery Plus. Start your free trial. Terms apply.
Disrupted. So disrupting the power grid is a CIA textbook way back to Dulles. Okay. So the power grid. Okay. So they have a right to be upset about their power grid being destroyed. But then they know who's doing it. The average Cuban knows who's doing it. The president of Cuba knows who's doing it. Russia, Iran, and China all said it's the United States doing it. Okay. And people love to believe Russia when they're saying nice things about Mr. Trump. But now they no. Okay. Now, then people will say, the people of Cuba are starving. Oh, they can't get medicine. Oh, because their government is oppressive. The people of Cuba are starving and have no medicine and have no goods in their stores because of the U.S. sanctions. Okay? And even after the U.S. sanctions, the Cuban economy is better, and the Nicaraguan economy and the Venezuelan economy are better than Haiti, Dominican Republic, Guatemala, all these capitalist utopias like Haiti, capitalist utopias like Dominican Republic, like Guatemala. But even countries, get this, look it up. You can look on Wikipedia and see this. The economy of Venezuela, Nicaragua, and Cuba are better than Jamaica, Aruba, Costa Rica. Everybody in the United States wants to retire and go down to Costa Rica. Well, take a look at the Panama, okay? These capitalist utopias, right? Well, capitalism is so great for people, right? And there's no oppression, there's no political or military oppression in Guatemala, the capitalist country. Why don't you complain about that? Right? SOS Guatemala. Okay? SOS Haiti. What's going on in Haiti right now? They just killed the president. Okay? So the Cuban people are suffering, yes, from being economically sanctioned by the United States. And if the Cuban economy was ever opened up, okay, to the markets in the area, they would be a huge economic powerhouse overnight just because of the cigars, the sugar, the rum, and the natural resources like nickel, but also, too, their ability to refineries, gasoline refineries, which the United States should be taking advantage of. They were able to produce very cheap gasoline for Venezuela. Okay, and so all the power grids started going, and people were getting cancer all left and right, and all kind of coup attempts going on all over the place. And look up my show I did about Trump and Giuliani and Trump's private security and Rudy's clients, coke dealers and money launderers doing that coup, that attempted coup in Venezuela that was put down by local fishermen, by angry local fishermen. Google that, man. Those are great stories. And find my reporting on that, which is very underappreciated. That was I think I put together a really good report on that and had some really good content there. So, another thing these Cubans are complaining about is the spread of COVID. And what is that? Power grid. Okay. Then the complaint about is the spread of COVID, the recent spread of COVID in Cuba. Okay. Now we all know that a virus can be weaponized, and we all know who's using weapons against Cuba and against the Cuban people. And we all know the motives for overthrowing the Cuban government so that the U.S. can get in there with the casinos and take over the economy of Cuba. This is what the goal is here, okay? Not to help the people of Cuba, okay? The United States doesn't give a damn about the people of Cuba. And the only opposition radicals over there in the street are funded by the United States. Okay, let's take a little commercial break. I'm done ranting and raving about Cuba. When we get back, I got a lot more fun games and surprises for you. Including, I have some serious questions about the Office of the Surgeon General. Okay? The Surgeon General. You know, I had an epiphany, man, watching a press conference by the Surgeon General. I'm going to be getting into that. I did a little looking into it. A little looking into it. We'll be right back after these messages. And now a word from our sponsors. The Opperman Report is brought to you by Aquadam.net. You can give them a call at 707-764-2119. A flooded home is never easy to deal with. You're left with the mess to clean up, the insurance companies to deal with, and not to mention all the memories, the precious memories that are lost in the flood. You can never replace those. And Aquadam can be a tool in your arsenal to protect your home and property from the floodwaters. The cofferdam is filled with water to control water and is reusable as long as it's taken care of. It can protect your home or business from rising floodwaters like a dam, but without the beavers. It can also be used in construction. If you need an area to be dewatered, an Aquadam can do the job. An Aquadam was used at SeaWorld in Orlando for the Mako roller coaster ride during the coaster's construction by dewatering the work area. An Aquadam is now dewatering the work area at San Antonio SeaWorld for their newest roller coaster ride. An Aquadam has been used in many construction projects all around the U.S. and all around the world. Now give Aquadam a call, 707-764-2119. You can look them up online at aquadam.net. You can find them on Facebook at Aquadam Inc. You call them up, you email them, you tell them Ed Opperman sent you, and they're going to take 10% off the price. Aquadam.net, 707-764-2119. If you find yourself in need of legal representation, it can be a very stressful time in your life. In my career, I have dealt with thousands of lawyers, I've dealt with thousands of law firms, and I can confidently recommend to you Keith M. Davidson at kmdlaw.com. Available 24 hours, 7 days a week. Just log into kmdlaw.com. That's kmdlaw.com. Or you can call toll-free 833-4KMD-LAW. That's 833-4KMD-LAW. Personal injury, wrongful death, STDs, sexual assault, car accidents. They handle it all efficiently and professionally. It doesn't matter how imposing the opposition may be, because the team at kmdlaw.com are battle-tested and fierce. They will not stop until justice prevails. Go to kmdlaw.com or call toll-free 833-4KMD-LAW. If you're in for the fight of your life, stop screwing around and contact KMD Law.
Before Epstein was the Franklin cover-up. Before that, the Finders. And long before that, the Cleveland Street Scandal. Pedogate Primer is a concise intro and overview of a growing child abuse epidemic worldwide. It features shocking instances of institutionalized and organizational pedophilia throughout history. Churches, cults, the world of arts and entertainment, the government, NGOs, charities, and major corporations are all complicit or culprits in many instances. Pedogate Primer delves into material that for many may seem like the stuff of conspiracy theories. For this reason, the book draws on academic resources, declassified documents, and other reliable sources, and steers clear of conjecture. Such shocking true stories need no embellishment.
It's the Opperman Report. And now, here is investigator Ed Opperman.
Okay, welcome back to the Opperman Report. I am your host, private investigator Ed Opperman. You can reach me at oppermaninvestigations@gmail.com. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Opperman Report, one word, OPPERMAN Report, one word. And you can follow me there on Twitter. Sometimes I get on a good jag on Twitter and I start posting a lot of stuff. Post a lot of the shows, the repeats and stuff like that. You can't, if you like to hear the repeats, which so many people haven't heard shows from 5-6 years ago. And anyway, what are you gonna do, right? You can help out support the show by if you listen to the show on Spreaker.com or Apple Plays, if you can share the show, leave a good review, hit a like. Or, post a show, or retweet it, or post it on Facebook, or Reddit, or one of those things, see a topic that one of my shows covers, and you could repost it, get me some more traffic. That would be a big help. Thank you very much. So, I'm watching the news, a press conference, right? And I see a press conference by the, what's that called? The general, what's that called? not the Attorney General, the Medical General. What do they call him? Not Postmaster General. They call him Medical General. No, that's brings up hospitals. Not the Surgeon General. The Surgeon General. The Surgeon General. The Surgeon General of the United States, who's put the public. I have some notes about this. Okay, this is the weirdest thing. I'm watching the Surgeon General of the United States, and I say, well, the Surgeon General. Why is this guy wearing some kind of military uniform? He's got a military uniform with the yellow stuff on his sleeves and the ribbons. Ribbons you get like awards. Ribbons the generals and stuff. And a hat. He's got a hat, almost like a captain's hat or a yachtsman's hat, And I'm watching this. I'm saying, why is this guy wearing a military uniform? He said, this is not a branch of the military, right? The Surgeon General is about medicine and stuff, and it's not a military. First of all, if I wouldn't wear that, okay? If I was offered that job and I was told, hey, you got to wear this little silly hat and you got to wear this little army uniform in order to work as a civilian in this position here, I wouldn't do it. I'd say, no, I want to wear my regular clothes. I refuse, okay? Can you imagine if Dr. Fauci was wearing that little hat? We'd be laughing at him. Now, it turns out that I don't know if these guys are armed or not either. I have the impression, I did some looking into this, that they're not armed. But there's about 6,000, there's 6,500 members of cadres of uniformed health professionals who are on call 24 hours a day, can be dispatched by the secretary or assistant secretary for health in the events of public health emergency. There's 6,000 of these guys in these uniforms. I don't know if they have guns or not. Okay? But what is going... They're equivalent to a 4-star admiral. So to me, how come the Attorney General doesn't wear a uniform? The top cop. Put him in a cop's uniform, right? With a little badge and a gun. This whole thing makes no sense. And I don't understand it. And it looks silly to have this guy in a costume giving press conferences in a uniform and a hat. I don't want to get too upset over this, okay? Because I don't know, maybe there's a good reason for this, but I could not find anything. And the one we have right now is a strange-looking guy. He's a vice admiral, Vivek Murthy. He's a vice admiral, not just an admiral. Now, do these guys have to go to the Navy first, man? Are these naval people? Maybe someone out there can explain this to me before I get too upset. But that's my little rant on the Surgeon General. And is he a surgeon? Can he do surgery? This guy? The whole thing just blows my freaking mind. Okay? It just blows my freaking mind. Now, back in the 80s, okay, when I was back in New York in the 80s, and I had my limousine, I had my nightclub, and I was out there doing stuff. And Scores was just getting, popular. The strip club Scores, okay? And I've done a couple shows about Scores. A lot of weird stuff went on there. Donald Trump was a fixture over there. Organized crime people were there. People connected to the Cuomo law firm owned it and were partners in the Cuomo law firm. A lot of weird stuff there. Guy turned out to be a pedophile, raping little boys. A lot of weird stuff, okay, around Scores, okay? And people, you just hear the stuff that they heard on Howard Stern and thought, oh boy, a fun little strip club, pretty girls, the hottest girls in New York, right? But it was kind of a sleazy place. Really overpriced. Now, one of the things that went on there around that period of time in the 80s, before Trump bought the Plaza Hotel.
Parents and guardians, get your children ready for a healthy back to school. Schedule a checkup with their doctor and dentist and make sure they're up to date with new immunization standards. A message from the Virginia Department of Health and Virginia Department of Education. Parents and guardians, get your children ready for a healthy back to school. Schedule a checkup with their doctor and dentist and make sure they're up to date with new immunization standards. A message from the Virginia Department of Health and Virginia Department of Education. Parents, get your children ready for a healthy back to school. Make sure they've had their annual checkup and are up to date with new immunization standards. Schedule a dentist visit. And if your child is 12 or older, get their free COVID-19 vaccine. More at vdh.virginia.gov/back-to-school. A message from the Virginia Department of Health and Virginia Department of Education.
There was this thing where the Plaza Hotel was notorious for prostitution, okay? For, high escorts, prostitution stuff going on at the Plaza Hotel. And there was a floor at the Plaza Hotel that you needed a key for the elevator. You had to put a key in the elevator. And it was a key. It wasn't a key card. It was a key to get the elevator to stop at that floor. And then when you got to that floor, I don't know exactly how it works, but there was prostitution going on that floor. And all the girls from Scores used to go there after work, okay? And they would say to guys, hey, you got a key to the plaza. You have a key to the plaza. Let's go to the plaza. You got a key right to the floor. And I know that a lot of these hotels, they have these hospitality suites, where you can go up there and drink for free. But I know there was some kind of a feature to all this where the girls, they had access to rooms up there that they could use, luxurious rooms at the plaza. And these girls really liked the bathrooms and the suites and the mini bars in these rooms. So I don't know exactly how it worked, but there was some kind of prostitution deals. I know the Scores girls were involved in it. I know that for a fact. And I know there was a secret floor that you needed a key to get on. Now, I don't know what the more details are. I never knew anybody was actually there. Just people that knew about it. I also knew about the secret spa and a steam room and the gym at the Waldorf store. I'd actually been there. I've been to that. You can't find that at the time, at least. I don't know about now, but it wasn't on the brochures. It was like a secret thing. You had you had to know somebody to get there. And I remember one time we actually went there and we were wearing suits and ties in the locker room because we had to go talk to a guy about a problem. And we went in there in our full outdoor attire. Well, the guy was in his towel in his bathrobe, But anyway. So the thing is, around that time, when all this stuff was going on at the Plaza Hotel, is when Tom Barrack, Tom Barrack is this guy that just got picked up by the FBI about his shenanigans with the inauguration committee, which a lot of money was slush fund through, but also, too, on his lobbying for foreign governments without being a registered agent. And pretty much going to foreign leaders and saying, hey, give me your wish list, and I'm going to bring it to Donald Trump. And so they picked up this guy, Tom Barrack, and he's a billionaire. This guy's a huge billionaire. And the thing is, a lot of people don't realize, the bail on this guy is $250 million. These are serious charges. This is not, I don't know why this isn't getting a lot more play, other than this guy has a lot of friends in high places. This, by the way, these charges go back to the Mueller investigation. Okay? Goes back to the Mueller investigation when Mueller was looking into the inauguration committee. So this is a way bigger story than it should be like a 24-hour news story. What's going on with this guy? Because this guy's a real character. Tom Barrack has long-time friendship and relationship with Donald Trump. As a matter of fact, he was brought in to handle the sale of the Plaza Hotel to Trump at the time when all this prostitution was going on at the Plaza. Well, you say, Ed, that's pretty thin. To character assassination upon Mr. Barrack. He's not proven guilty. He's innocent proven guilty. And so what if there was some prostitution going on? Well, how would he know? Well, you got to look at what else this guy's involved in. Close ties to Michael Jackson. This guy's been lifelong friends with Michael Jackson. Harvey Weinstein and Jeffrey Epstein. Okay? And this is talked about within the company, Colony Capital, okay, where they called for his resignation because of all his shady connections to these characters. So, and it's a shame too because so many of the people who are fascinated and will look into Epstein 24 hours a day will give Tom Barrack a pass because of his relationship to Trump. And they'll try and say, oh, this is a witch hunt, the inauguration of Mr. Trump's a good man. And you just hate Trump. That's what you just bring this up because you hate Trump. Well, obviously, there's something here. $250 million bail is not chicken feed. I know about his connection to the Plaza Hotel, and I know what was going on down there back in the 80s. And he was the one that negotiated the deal with Trump. And here he is all hooked up with Harvey Weinstein, Jeffrey Epstein, and all this kind of every other Steen out there. All this Steen. Okay. All right. So let's see. I think I'm pretty much through my notes of everything I wanted to talk about. I have a show coming up in this week about the lynching of this man from Ferguson. I think it's Duante, I think his name was. I don't have it in front of me right now. I was supposed to tape with them this week, but couldn't get around to it. There was too much with this moving, this packing and moving. And once again, if you want to support this work, you can go to Patreon, the Opperman Report Patreon. And for as little as $3 a month, you can get the shows ad-free. I'm going to be throwing up a lot of new content up there this week. And once I move, get this, guys. So many people love to complain about the audio quality and all this kind of stuff. Once I move, because my homeowners association fees will include my internet, I've already negotiated a deal with the internet, with the cable company. I'm going to have faster internet than I have here, double fast, twice as fast, for half the price. So I'm saving money, and we're getting a better internet. And also, too, I've improved my credit so much that we're going to be getting a new equipment here for the new microphone and a new computer, so which should improve sound quality quite a bit. And then perhaps maybe we'll do away with Skype and come up with a better platform for being able to fix the levels of the guest in my audio. Now, a lot of people like to complain about the ads that they hear, not the ads that I read, but the ads that the podcast platforms put on. Okay, if you listen to the show on AM/FM radio, none of those ads are on there. Okay, that's just the podcast stuff, and I really have no control over that. Okay, the only thing I can do with that is I can position them, but I can't control the volume on those whatsoever or how many there are. So you're barking up the wrong tree by complaining to me about that. I just can't do nothing about it. And since I've lived here in Florida, I can't do nothing about the internet because, what am I going to do? Move? That's what I'm doing. I'm moving. Okay, I came down here. I couldn't get the studio back up and running correctly. And then because of the internet quality down here, we had all that clicking, and the choppiness that everybody loved to complain about. So that should be taken care of now with this move. So there's that. Now, what else do I have to talk about you tonight? I really can't think of anything. If you want to advertise on the show, hit me up. Get a hold of me at oppermanreport.com, at gmail.com, because I'm about to add a bunch of new stations, a package of new stations that said they're low frequency, but they're in high populated areas, like the Las Vegas Strip. Like, I can't think of anything right now, but all very high populated areas next to colleges and, casinos and stuff. So I got a couple of them more. I'm approved. They want me. Just got to negotiate the deal. So if you want to advertise, it's a great time to advertise. We're reaching a ton of people down in Florida right now, a lot of folks in Florida. I'm on the whole east coast of Florida, from Miami, cover the whole city of Miami, which is a huge city, all the way up to past West Palm Beach, where Mr. Trump has Mar-a-Lago. Okay, 175 miles of I-95. All those cars driving up and down and listening to the show. Then on the West Coast, we're in Tampa, St. Petersburg, Clearwater, Sarasota, Venice. Huge chunk of the Gulf Coast of Florida. And plus, out into that water, into the Gulf of Mexico, that bay, that Tampa Bay area, all those boats out there with nothing to do but listen to the radio. And in Utah and Nevada, I don't just cover the Strip. Boulder we cover, all the way up to where Bundy Ranch was. We cover all that area. But also, too, out Lake Mead and up in Mount Charleston, where people are up there camping and they're on their boats. Nothing to do but listen to the radio. They don't have TVs. All they can do is listen to the radio. And then in Utah, too, same thing. All those campgrounds up there in Utah. California, So if you have a nationwide product or a business or a website, this is the perfect place to advertise. Plus, I'm always adding more places. And if you live in a certain town and you want me to look into getting on the air there and you want to sponsor me, I can work that out with you as well. So thank you so much, guys. I'll see you next week. And good night. And now a word from our sponsors.
Before Epstein was the Franklin cover-up. Before that, the Finders. And long before that, the Cleveland Street Scandal. Pedogate Primer is a concise intro and overview of a growing child abuse epidemic worldwide. It features shocking instances of institutionalized and organizational pedophilia throughout history. Churches, cults, the world of arts and entertainment, the government, NGOs, charities, and major corporations are all complicit or culprits in many instances. Pedogate Primer delves into material that for many may seem like the stuff of conspiracy theories. For this reason, the book draws on academic resources, declassified documents, and other reliable sources, and steers clear of conjecture. Such shocking, true stories need no embellishment.
If you find yourself in need of legal representation, it can be a very stressful time in your life. In my career, I have dealt with thousands of lawyers, I've dealt with thousands of law firms, and I can confidently recommend to you Keith M. Davidson at kmdlaw.com. Available 24 hours, 7 days a week. Just log into kmdlaw.com. That's kmdlaw.com. Or you can call toll-free 833-4KMD-LAW. That's 833-4KMD-LAW. Personal injury, wrongful death, STDs, sexual assault, car accidents. They handle it all efficiently and professionally. It doesn't matter how imposing the opposition may be, because the team at kmdlaw.com are battle-tested and fierce. They will not stop until justice prevails. Go to kmdlaw.com or call toll-free 833-4KMD-LAW. If you're in for the fight of your life, stop screwing around and contact KMD Law. The Opperman Report is brought to you by Aquadam.net. You can give them a call at 707-764-2119. A flooded home is never easy to deal with. You're left with the mess to clean up, the insurance companies to deal with, and not to mention all the memories, the precious memories that are lost in the flood. You can never replace those. And Aquadam can be a tool in your arsenal to protect your home and property from the floodwaters. The cofferdam is filled with water to control water and is reusable as long as it's taken care of. It can protect your home or business from rising floodwaters like a dam, but without the beavers. It can also be used in construction. If you need an area to be dewatered, an Aquadam can do the job. An Aquadam was used at SeaWorld in Orlando for the Mako roller coaster ride during the coaster's construction by dewatering the work area. An Aquadam is now dewatering the work area at San Antonio SeaWorld for their newest roller coaster ride. An Aquadam has been used in many construction projects all around the U.S. and all around the world. Now give Aquadam a call, 707-764-2119. You can look them up online at aquadam.net. You can find them on Facebook at Aquadam Inc. You call them up, you email them, you tell them Ed Opperman sent you, and they're going to take 10% off the price. Aquadam.net, 707-764-2119.
2021 is the 25th anniversary of the Telecommunications Act of 1996, the last comprehensive update to Internet regulation. The Internet has experienced more than a few updates since 1996, but Internet regulations have not. That's why Facebook supports updated regulations on key issues like preventing election interference, protecting people's privacy, reforming Section 230, and more. See Facebook's progress on key issues and what's next at about.fb.com/regulations.
Parents and guardians, get your children ready for a healthy back to school. Schedule a checkup with their doctor and dentist and make sure they're up to date with new immunization standards. A message from the Virginia Department of Health and Virginia Department of Education.
90 Day is going tropical on the new Discovery Plus original series, Love in Paradise, the Caribbean. It's a vacation love story where sun, surf, and seduction collide. 4 Americans are traveling back to the exotic islands where they hope their sexy romances can turn into forever. Love in Paradise, the Caribbean, a 90-day story. Streaming now only on Discovery Plus. Start your free trial. Terms apply.
Things I thought could never happen. Me, in a punk band?
What?
We Are Lady Parts, a new original comedy streaming only on Peacock.
A confused mix of hash anthems and sour girl power. Syra, vocals. Aisha, drummer. Bisma, bassist. Mumtaz, band manager. And me, Amina, lead guitar.
You were really good until you puked all over the front row. Ew.
We Are Lady Parts, all episodes streaming now. Only on Peacock.
Parents and guardians, get your children ready for a healthy back to school. Schedule a checkup with their doctor and dentist and make sure they're up to date with new immunization standards. A message from the Virginia Department of Health and Virginia Department of Education. Parents, get your children ready for a healthy back to school. Make sure they've had their annual checkup and are up to date with new immunization standards. Schedule a dentist visit. And if your child is 12 or older, get their free COVID-19 vaccine. More at vdh.virginia.gov/back-to-school. A message from the Virginia Department of Health and Virginia Department of Education.
"2021 is the 25th anniversary of the Telecommunications Act of 1996, the last comprehensive update to Internet regulation. The Internet has experienced more than a few updates since 1996, but Internet regulations have not. That's why Facebook supports updated regulations on key issues like preventing election interference, protecting people's privacy, reforming Section 230, and more. See Facebook's progress on key issues and what's next at about.fb.com/regulations.
Parents, get your children ready for a healthy back to school. Schedule a checkup with their doctor and dentist, and be sure they are up to date with their immunizations, including the COVID-19 vaccine if they're 12 or older. A message from the Virginia Department of Health and Virginia Department of Education. Parents and guardians, get your children ready for a healthy back to school. Schedule a checkup with their doctor and dentist and make sure they're up to date with new immunization standards. A message from the Virginia Department of Health and Virginia Department of Education.
"2021 is the 25th anniversary of the Telecommunications Act of 1996, the last comprehensive update to Internet regulation. The Internet has experienced more than a few updates since 1996, but Internet regulations have not. That's why Facebook supports updated regulations on key issues like preventing election interference, protecting people's privacy, reforming Section 230, and more. See Facebook's progress on key issues and what's next at about.fb.com/regulations.
Parents and guardians, get your children ready for a healthy back to school. Schedule a checkup with their doctor and dentist and make sure they're up to date with new immunization standards. A message from the Virginia Department of Health and Virginia Department of Education.
"2021 is the 25th anniversary of the Telecommunications Act of 1996, the last comprehensive update to Internet regulation. The Internet has experienced more than a few updates since 1996, but Internet regulations have not. That's why Facebook supports updated regulations on key issues like preventing election interference, protecting people's privacy, reforming Section 230, and more. See Facebook's progress on key issues and what's next at about.fb.com/regulations.
Parents, get your children ready for a healthy back to school. Schedule a checkup with their doctor and dentist, and be sure they are up to date with their immunizations, including the COVID-19 vaccine if they're 12 or older. A message from the Virginia Department of Health and Virginia Department of Education.